This is Becoming a Blockbuster YA Author, the series that will guide you through writing and publishing a hit young adult or middle grade novel, and will train your brain to think like a best-selling author. In this episode, we're going to brainstorm ideas and figure out what story you were meant to tell. You might already have a premise in mind for a story you want to write, but even so, it's a great idea to start with some brainstorming to expand and build upon your ideas. Everyone has at least one book in them that they were born to write. Your entire life, your interests, passions, even your family history is all there for you to draw upon. Nobody else in the world has your brain, your ideas, and your experiences. So let's go through 5 brainstorming steps that will help you figure out what story you were meant to write. First, let's look at your areas of expertise. Do you know a lot about a sport you play, or a specific fandom, or hobby, or your current job? Any of these things can enrich a story. Something that stands out to me is the way YA author Maggie Stiefvater writes about cars in her series The Raven Cycle. Her love for cars and her intimate knowledge about them bleeds through onto the page and enriches the story. So this leads me to number 2, your passions and interests. Readers, agents, and publishers can always tell if you're passionate about what you're writing. I'll say that again because it's important. People can tell if you're passionate about what you're writing. Incorporating your interest into a story will give it feeling, emotion, and your unique point of view, which will keep the reader turning pages. So what are your favorite things to do in your spare time? Is there a career you think would be really awesome? Say a paleontologist or a researcher at CERN? Are there any topics that you'd like to learn more about, like the Large Hadron Collider? Here's the great thing. Interests don't need to equate to expertise. Yes, there's that old advice to only write what you know, but I think that advice is dated. It's pre-internet. If you don't know about a certain topic, but it interests you anyway, or if you want it in your story, that's what research is for. You've got the entire internet, documentaries on Netflix, even the ability to connect with a stranger on social media who can tell you about the subjects you're unfamiliar with. Third is your background. What's your family history? Did they immigrate from another country or go through struggles in war? And what about you? Do you have unique life experiences? Do you identify with any marginalized groups? Writing a story based on who you are and where you've come from is a great way to make a story real, raw, and captivating. More than anything, this is what today's publishers will notice. There's a trend in the reading and writing community called #OwnVoices. And that's to say publishers want authors who have written about a character who shares part of their identity. Diversity is obviously really important in stories, so think about the people in your life and how you can represent different ethnicities, sexualities, cognitive and physical abilities, political leanings, and other cultural and social diversities. Fourth is the story you want to read. What are your favorite genres to read and watch? Fantasy, sci-fi, rom-coms? And what kind of stories would you like to see more of? As author Toni Morrison said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. So think about what kind of stories and important themes you want to put out there in the world. Fifth, your strongest emotions. Think of everything that gives you strong emotions, like anger, fear, or joy. As Robert Frost said, no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. In other words, strong emotions in you will equate to strong emotions in the reader. Maybe the location of your first date with your partner triggers feelings of love. Or maybe you have a family member you have a special relationship with. Also think about what terrifies you and what makes you burn with anger and what makes you jealous. So at this point, you've got a lot of topics swirling around in your head. You might even be brimming with inspiration. This would be a great time to open a document or your favorite notebook and free write concepts for a story based on the ideas you generated. Of course, you don't want to incorporate every single thing you write down in the brainstorming stage, but think about a few of them that might be able to enrich your story. You want your story to come from a place of passion and personal insights. Not so much autobiographical and self-indulgent, but definitely inspired by who you are. This one-of-a-kind combination of your life experience, your background, and your feelings, that's the story you were meant to tell. I invite you now to open the brainstorming questionnaire linked below and fill it out to help you narrow down your story ideas. If you're taking our coaching program, when you have your next call with us, we'll talk about your ideas and help you identify the biggest and brightest ones that will help you write the best story you can possibly write. For free guides, worksheets, and to apply for personal coaching, go to blockbusterya.com.